I go here to PHP my admin, and there's my database test site and my table users. And here are my two target fields, name and email. I want to print all these names, all of them, onto my web page. If it works, I'll do this one too, maybe in the next video. Let's start. I go to my editor, Notepad++, and I make a file called index.php. I start my PHP code with my tag here. I'm going to connect to my database and my server. So I tell the system, MySql Mr. MySql yes, could you please connect to the local host, codename for server. And when you get there, he's going to ask you who you are. You will tell him that you are the root, and you will give him the password. It's blank. That's a standalone computer. No dangers. No Wi-Fi. Nothing. So, blank password. It's easy for me. And the name of my database is test site. Would you connect to that guy? Connect to this guy. Okie dokie, he says. Oh, and one more thing. Could you assign all of this to the one variable $com, stands for connection? Okay, I'll do that, he says. Now I got to test if it worked. Mr. MySql yes. If, when you connect, when you try to connect to that server and DBase, if all of a sudden the only thing you have in your hands is an error number, oh, wow, we got trouble. Then I want you to do something. Really? What do you want me to do? I want you to echo out onto the screen, fail. Oh, and could you also concatenate to that fail the error that you got when you connected, Mr. MySql? Yeah, I'll do that. Not the error number, the error string data, so I can understand what the problem was. Okay, that's good. Here's my open and close curlies. That's the end of my if statement. Okay, I'm good now. The next thing I want to do is I want to write a query. I want to get all my records. So I write a query to get all the records. I want to select all the records from the table called users that was in that database. Okay. And this doesn't do it. This is just the command. And I'm assigning this to the variable $Q. All right, that's in $Q now. Now I'm going to tell the system to do it. Mr. MySql, yes. Could you perform that query and get all those records? What query? This one, $Q. You know, select star from users. $Q. Yeah. MySql says to me, but what database was he connected to? Just look inside $CON, this variable, and you'll get all that information. Oh, okay. I'll do that. So, Mr. MySql, could you, when you get all those records, could you put them into the variable $R? Yeah, he says, okay, I'll do that, but it's going to look a little sloppy. I'm just going to grab all of them and throw them in there. It'll be really super duper sloppy. Okay, that's fine. I don't care. Okay, and he does it. That's the end of my PHP code. All right, now I come to my HTML. And there's the head tag, end head tag, title, end title, and right in the middle, on the title bar, it's going to say my records. And here comes the body of my HTML page. All right, H1, end H1 tags. Right in the middle, it's going to say my records. So when the program runs, it's going to say my records right up at the top, just like this. Wow, that looks nice so far. Next thing I do is I come to these H2 tags. Okay, so whatever gets printed out in the middle is going to be a little bit, not as big as H1, but still big enough. All right, that's good. Oh, and here's a UL unordered list tag, end on unordered list tag. So anything in the middle is going to be bulleted. I'd like my records to have nice little bullets on them. Oh, here we go. Here comes my PHP code. Here's the PHP opening tag and close tag. Mr. MySql, yeah. You know all those records you put into $R? He said, yeah, you know, those sloppy ones. Yeah, I know those. Could you fetch all those records out of $R? Yeah. And put them into a nice and neat associative array for me, please? Okay, I'll do that. Then I can get to them real easy. Okay, that's fine. Oh, and when you get that associative array and all those nice, neat records, could you assign that to the variable $0? So he'll refer to all those records you just grabbed out of that database and put into a nice, neat associative array. Okay, I'll do that, he says. Good. And while I want you to keep doing this and doing something, and while this, let me go back there, while you still have records here, while you're at the top of the list, while you're not at the bottom of the list, while there's still something, a record being pointed to, I want you to do all the following commands. Okay, what commands are those? Well, first I want you to put a line tag there. Okay, I'll do that. And a bold tag there. Okay, then I'll do that too. Oh, and here's the end bold and end line tags. Okay, that's nice and neat. Oh, and here's the meat and potatoes of the program. Ready? Here we go. Oh, let's make that look a little bit neater like that. This looks nice. All right, let's see what this says. Here's the beginning of my PHP code. I want you to echo out onto the screen, Mr. PHP. Yeah, what do you want me to echo out? Well, you know that $0 guy up here who's pointing to the associative array and who's now currently pointing to record number 1? Yeah, I know that guy. Well, he's got a name field in there. Could you print that? Could you echo that name field, Mr. $0, in the record that you're pointing to? Could you echo that name field out onto the screen? Sure I can, no problemo. And that's the end of the PHP code. Now he's on record number 1. And he jumps down here to the end of the while loop. And immediately jumps back up to reevaluate the condition. Now he skipped down to record number 2 now. There's still lots of records in here. While 0 still has records in them. That's what this is saying. While there's still something there. Keep doing this. So he's at record number 2. He jumps down here. He prints out record number 2's name field. Echo out onto the screen the name field and the row from 0 that $0 is pointing to. That's record number 2. So now he jumps down to end while. Now he's at record number 3. Jumps back up, reevaluates the condition. It's at record number 3. He's not empty. He's not on empty yet. Jumps back here and echoes out onto the screen the name field in the 3rd row. And hits the end while. Back up he goes. And he just keeps doing this again and again and again up until he gets to the last record. There's no more records here. He's printed out everything. And he jumps to the line following the end while. Right here. And what's right here? Well, there's the end of the unordered list tag. There's the end of the H2 tag. End of the body and end of the HTML. And basically, it's the end of the program. What happens after this? That's it. Oh, now we got to run the program. So I go to the browser and I key in localhost. That's my server. /afab program. That's the folder I put it in. / and I hit enter. It'll automatically execute the index. And it finds an index.php file in there and then runs it. Let's see what happens. I hit enter and kapow. My records. And there they are. Spit out onto the screen. Now these were slides. Let's take a look at the actual program now. Localhost a fab program, hit enter, and there we go. That was bad. There we go. So you can see all the records. And so it worked. Wonderful. In the next video, we'll put the we'll add on to that. I said I'll put the email over here, and you'll see it looks pretty messy, and we'll have to put it into a table eventually. But first thing we want to do is learn how to print the stuff onto the screen, and then put data, create a screen that puts data into the server, and then be able to edit that data. And then we're happy. Then we'll put in the bells and whistles. Okie dokie. Thanks so much for listening. This is George Boole. Bye-bye now.